right, everybody, you guys know what it is. My name is Gil. This is the American Troll Podcast, and today I got a guest that's very well known in the Ranger community. He's also I'll let him tell it to you guys. Let me bring him in here real quick. Let's get in here. It's a perfect time. But before I let him in here, let me let you guys know he's having a little problem with the Wi-Fi. His audio is working perfect. His video may not. It is what it is. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling, man. Mr. Angel Cortez, what's going on, my man?
How's it going, man? Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you for coming on at such a short period. I think we really would talk last night or something real quick on IG, and now you're here, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit you up because I've been doing a few videos on America, on the service people, especially. I think those 13 service people that were just killed out there in Afghanistan kind of reignited the whole Afghanistan fight, because I don't think no service person has been killed in Afghanistan for 18 months. And then for this going to happen, I hit you up yesterday and I asked you, hey, what do you think? And you told me that's a whole conversation. So I kind of want to have that conversation with you. But before we get that started, for people who don't know who you are, give us a little brief history of yourself and your career in the Army.
Yes. Well, like you said, my name's Angel Cortez. I'm a former Army Ranger. I spent some time in Iraq and Afghanistan, and after almost a decade in the military, I decided to go out, get out. I've been going to school to become a registered dietitian. I'm on my last semester to earn this bachelor's in nutrition and dietetics. But I also do a lot of work right now through my company, OG Pumpkin, with law enforcement, veterans, and the low-income community.
And where were you deployed when you were in the service, and how many years were you out there?
Iraq and Afghanistan, and total combined of 24 months overseas.
Now, were you in combat in those areas?
Yes, especially in Afghanistan.
Especially in what part of Afghanistan? Talk to us a little bit about Afghanistan, how it was over there for you.
So my first 12 months ever deployed were in Iraq, and it was a lot slower. Especially, and I didn't know, but I would just hear the older guys, hey man, the tempo used to be higher, and I took it for what it was. Yeah, people were still getting hurt, people were still dying, but I guess not to the level that the guys experienced during, like, let's say, the invasion, the surge,
Right.
So then we came back and we heard that, Afghanistan was next. And the fight that I was looking for, the fight that, I was naive and I said I wanted. Because I say naive because you don't really know the consequences until you're in it. I got it. We were fighting every day, multiple times a day, and what I didn't like to think about or really consider that much was that, hey, your friends are going to start dying, your friends are going to start getting hurt. You're going to see a bunch of stuff, and I've dealt with suicide bombers. I've dealt with bombs in the roads, bombs in the walls, rocket attacks, missions day and night. So in Afghanistan is where I got everything. I got what I asked for plus more.
And when you say you wanted what you asked for, you wanted action, right?
Yes. I wanted to be tested. I wanted to see what I was made out of.
And is there a lot of young guys as yourself that feel that way when they first go in?
Yeah, and the funny thing is that now I see it. Now I'm on the other side. I talk to these young guys who want to join special operations, and they ask me like, "Hey man, how did you do it?" And I give them tips and stuff like that, and just listening to them and reading what they write back just reminds me of me. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We need those type of men to be out there, protect, from overseas to stateside. So,
right.
It's that, call it a calling, whatever it is. I think it's good.
Now it's close to 9/11. So if you can take me back to where you were at 9/11, and did that have anything to do with you wanting to join the service?
Well, I wanted to join way before 9/11. I in my head, service members, soldiers, that I would see in the movies, they were real heroes. Of course, I liked Superman, Batman, Ninja Turtles, and stuff like that as a kid. but I knew they were fake. I knew that no Ninja Turtles were going to come around the corner and save the day. But I would see these movies, and I wanted to be like those men. I wanted to see what I was made of, if I could be like them, as strong and tough, And so when 9/11 happened, I remember I was in the back of my mom's van. There was no seats in the van, only the driver and the front passenger. So it's all my brothers and sisters, all four of us. We're on the floor. We're getting ready to go to school, and we had a radio, one of those portable radios that you just put batteries in. And I remember listening to the news. What I didn't know it was the news. I thought it was a preview to a movie, because kids don't know these days. That's how sometimes you got previews to movies. You just heard them on the radio. So I remember thinking, like, man, that sounds like an intense movie. But when we got to my grandma's house, because my mom had to go to work really early, so we had to wait a little while until school started at my grandma. We got in there and everybody was surrounding the TV. This isn't a preview to a movie. This is happening right now, and that's all. It really hit home that, like, hey, the war can come here too.
Right. And now when you went to Afghanistan, did you lose friends out there? Did you lose other guys that were in your units?
Yeah, and in Iraq, close friends. Some of them had gotten hurt, but they lived. So, but I remember in Afghanistan, when we lost two in 1 week, separate. And then I get a call that there's another one, and then there's another one, and then somebody gets hurt, and then somebody gets blown up, and then it's just over and over and over. It seems like every other week something's happening. Somebody's getting really hurt, or somebody's dying.
Right. Now, what did you think when you not just saw the servicemen get killed this last week, but when you first heard we were going to leave Afghanistan?
Well, we knew it was going to happen. We knew we weren't, going to be there forever. And first of all, I don't represent all veterans, but I
Right.
do feel like I represent a good amount, because we all talk, when we're bored, when we're training, when we're drinking beers. Clearly, it's not like when we train and go home and we never talk about this stuff. No, it's our world. It's so that we're talking about this, and then when we're overseas, and me being in special operations and working with other units and seeing what's going on those levels, you can kind of see that there's something was going to happen. As in, yes, we were going to leave, but when we left, something was going to happen. Either the Taliban and the government were going to fight it out for a while, or the Taliban was just going to crush all of them, or something. None of us ever thought that we would leave and the Taliban would just stay away and stay where they're at. No, we knew something was going to happen. What I don't think any of us expected was that they would take it over in what was it, 10 days or something like that.
9 days, I think it was.
There you go. I don't know. In all the conversations I've had, we never said, "Hey, 9 days, they're gonna take it over."
Yeah, I don't think anybody did, but you would have thought the intelligence would have seen them coming from town to town, because before everybody left, they kind of were saying, "Hey, they're at this town, they're at this town," and it kind of seemed like that they just pulled everybody away and weren't really caring that they were coming closer and closer.
And so I mentioned I made a post, and some people were messaging me very angry, and I can tell this is a very emotional situation. But what I said was, this whole thing, it is the current, and people have to listen to each word, because sometimes they just want to hear what they want to hear. What's happening is the fault of all the past administrations plus the current administration, because when this current administration went in, it wasn't, the Taliban was completely defeated, their ideology was gone, the government had no corruption, the local police were well trained, the military was well trained, and in their special forces units were tip top. Everything was great. That's not what happened. They got handed this fucking mess, And then the current administration just dropped the fucking ball in ways that it's making a lot of us angry. It's making a lot of veterans and service members angry. And there's even that one general that spoke out,
Yes.
and then he got fired.
And now, what in your community? What's the biggest thing that you guys are angry about?
The government. So when you're over there, you see the games, right? You see how politicians have too much say in what we can and cannot do and what's happening during war. Men that aren't anywhere near the battlefield are dictating what's happening. And and then some people might not understand this, but even at the highest levels within our military, those men in uniform are basically just politicians in uniform at that point. You know, I'm talking about the guys at the tip top. They're, you know, and we saw it. We've seen all these terrible calls being made, and for this, it's just it angers us because a lot of us fought right next to those special operation guys from Afghanistan, the interpreters, and it's not in our nature to fight, shed tears and blood together and just bounce and leave them like that.
Right. Yeah. Right now.
And Americans as well too.
Yeah, I think they left a few hundred still over there. But when you were in Afghanistan, as a soldier, do they give you guys a purpose and tell you guys are here for this, or do they just you guys are just robots and say, here, this is your mission, go at it?
So there's levels to this, right? So there's very specialized missions that are going after specific individuals, let's say bomb makers, um, leaders of networks, people that finance the Taliban or the local area that's fighting us, or people helping facilitate, outsiders, as in people from Pakistan or other countries, into Afghanistan to fight us. And then there's all the way to I don't want to say basic, but the more broad level of you're patrolling day to day and you're seeing if the Taliban comes and attacks you, right?
Right.
The problem is that depending on who's in charge, it might change. So it's like we're working real hard, and then the next dude comes in and he's like, "Nah, we're gonna do this," and it's a pattern that happened in all the years that we were there. That it was this thing and then that thing, and you're allowed to do this, and then you're not allowed to do that. And then you must have this many people from their military come out to your operations, and it's like they have too much say.
Now when it comes to the Taliban, right, and then it comes to the guys that you were training, I see it like this, and maybe I'm wrong. I am an outsider for sure, right? But I see it like this: in a gang world, it seems to me like the Taliban are with the business; they're the gangster ones, even though their ideology is all screwed up. And it seems like the guys you guys are training are. Maybe I'm wrong. It seems like they're just there to collect the bill, collect the check, and most of them aren't really killers.
Well, what it is, you're kind of right, but not complete.
Okay.
It's the whole the whole idea of Afghanistan. They're trying to force upon all of them. It doesn't work over there, okay? Because they within the country are what militia might control
Okay,
in
hold on,
that
Angel.
valley, and
Let's do something.
even though yes, they're
Hold on,
Muslims, but they're
hold on,
a
hold
little
on.
bit different.
Angel, hold on. Give me a
Yeah.
second. Why don't you do this? You're breaking up pretty bad. Go ahead. I'm gonna shoot you my number. I think you already have it, but hold on. Let's go ahead and call me, and then we're gonna do this with the audio because you got some good stuff going on here, but I'm losing you, brother. Let me know if you got it.
Okay.
Go ahead and see if you got it there. Yeah, we
And then
just having a little.
you want me to just call you now?
Yeah, just call me right now, brother. We're having a little problem with the Wi-Fi at his home right now because everybody's on it, and Angel's gonna call me, and that will be we'll have a much better audio quality. Yeah, go ahead and call me, Angel.
All right, I'm gonna do that right now.
All right, brother. Let's see here. So yeah, this is Angel Cortez. He is a former Ranger. He did 24 months out in the field, Iraq and Afghanistan, and we're getting his take on what's going on in Afghanistan right now. So as soon as he calls, we'll get right in here and we'll rock and roll.
All right,
All right, for
I'm
sure. Give me.
gonna.
Don't worry, Angel. You take your time, my man. That's the man. Angel,
Can you
Can
hear
you hear
me?
me?
I can hear you perfect, brother.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
So
So
like I was saying,
I think I don't know.
the
I don't know if you've got something that's on. Hold on, maybe it's me because I hear an echo back there. Can you
yeah,
talk?
I walked away. I was
Okay,
still
perfect.
right next to the
Okay,
iPad.
so let's take it back to where I said as far as let me put my thing as far as when I asked about. It seems like the Taliban are the gangster guys over there, even though they're pushing their
Yeah.
crazy ideology. And it seems like the guys that you guys were training, because I mean, it seems like they folded right away, including the president of Afghanistan. I'm not sure what the political thing was. So take it from the top from there, please.
Yes. So well, so there's many parts to this. This whole Afghanistan thing is not so simple that people can put it in 2 or 3 sentences or a meme or a short video. It's a very complex situation where there's many variables, and a few of them are this: it's that their idea of a country that we're trying to force on them just doesn't register to a lot of them. It's hard for them to have pride in Afghanistan when they are more loyal to their local militia, their local valley. Because for them, you have to understand that their education level as a whole is very low. Many of them can read and write. So to tell them, like, let's say they live in one valley, to tell somebody who doesn't know how to read and write that somebody far, far away in a place that they've never been called Kabul is their leader, that doesn't make sense to them. That it's crazy. And it's not that these people want to be ruled, but what they understand is power. So the man with the most guns, the man with the most men, whoever is in control, that is who leads. So to tell somebody, hey, put this uniform on and fight for this flag that you may or may not even feel connected to in an area that you may not even be from, protect this area. It doesn't make sense to them. They're not from there.
It's big. It's very tribalistic, right? Like tribalism over there.
Yes, 100%. And then on top of that, yes, there is that part of some of these guys, especially in the lower levels of their military, are just there for a check. But the ones we fought right next to with their version of special operation units, those guys are hardcore. They believe in the country. They believe in they want freedom. Many of them have died right next to us. They fought right next to us. And but the problem is that when people give up here and they give the Taliban access to more weapons, you're just making this monster stronger and stronger. And on top of that, I mean that country has so much corruption.
Now, explain to people because I try, but you're a military guy. I'm sure you do a much better job. Some people I have conversations with, they're like, "Well, why don't we just bomb the hell out of it? Why don't we?" And I'm like, "Man, you can have all the military might in the world, but at the end of the day, these guys are fighters, and they've been fighting for thousands of years almost."
And well, the whole bombing, the whole thing is that's again they're trying to simplify something, and it sounds like it would work. But let's just take this. Let's just say we had a bomb big enough to cover all of Afghanistan. The problem, the issue is not the Taliban alone. It's the ideology. So if you bomb one whole place and you get rid of all those people, that ideology is still out there, and you'll still have to fight those people that spread that make these attacks that are in Africa, other parts of the Middle East, Asia, and and then even if we were to do that, people would see that, and that would just be fuel for recruiting. Like, look what they're doing, look what they're doing. We have to fight them, we have to bomb them. In my opinion, one of the areas that we failed in was education. Yes, we needed bullets and bombs overseas, but we needed to educate the people, because it's a lot harder to tell somebody, hey, pick up a rifle, or go blow yourself up, when they know better. When not just education as in read and write, but like, hey, why would I blow myself up when I can just go to school, have friends, meet a nice girl, take her downtown, go out dancing, have a good time. Like, why? But when they don't even know that that's an idea, that's a possibility that they can do, for them, it's education. We should have educated a lot more, because that's what's going to help us defeat this ideology.
It's almost like I mean, they're gang banging. They're gang banging Allah. They're from day one. They get these young kids and start brainwashing them that you blow yourself up. You're gonna go get the 41 virgins. You're doing this for God. So I mean, it's education work, but it's also it is to them still like a biblical war. No.
Yes, to some of them, and again, there's levels to this. Some of these guys are fighting because they believe in the biblical war. Some of these guys are fighting, to be honest, just because they can do whatever they want, because they can do. People think that because they're fighting and they're saying it's for Allah and stuff like this, that some of these guys don't do drugs. Not bullshit. A lot of these dudes do drugs. They in the areas that they control, they start using women as sex slaves. They abuse children, but they do it behind the whole, oh, it's for Allah, it's for Allah. No, there's multiple reasons that these guys are fighting. Some of them are just paid. They come from other countries and they're paid to fight.
So they but who funds these guys?
Just you name it. For example, there's a bunch of countries, and if people were to look this up, there's not just like 20 countries in the world. There's tons and tons of countries, and guess what? A lot of them don't like us, but they have to play friendly, or they themselves can't attack us. I've been overseas where we find caches of a lot of their weapons or stuff like that, and it's brand new equipment, and it says, like, the writing and all that, it's made in China,
right?
Or it's made in this country, or it's made in that, or Iran, Pakistan. It's just there's a lot going on. It's not just like it's some dude in a farm who's got the AK, and we've been dealing with this guy for a long time. No, it's people just funnel people and supplies, money into this country and fight us.
So, in other words, those countries that don't like us, they're fighting the war with money, and then these guys go out there and try to kill Americans.
Yeah.
Wow. So now that it's all said and done, Afghanistan, quote unquote, we are no longer in war in Afghanistan. Do you feel betrayed by the way we left? Did you think it would have been different if we wouldn't have left that way?
So again, it's an ideology. We will, unless we kill it or figure out something, we're gonna fight it. So I thought, we thought like, hey, we will always have a princess of Afghanistan. We would never give up our most powerful tools out there, which would, or areas, which would be the airfield. So I thought we would use it to and only use special operations units to do certain attacks or something.
Right.
All this hard work, I didn't know that they would just leave real quick, leave Americans behind, leave our allies behind, and all this work, you can't help it to ask, like, what was it for or whatever. And well, at the time it was very important. And I try to tell my guys, like, hey man, we did our job. What we were doing at that moment was very important, and it helped. It's not our fault what's happening right now. It is the politicians. If you want to get deeper, in a way, it is our fault, because we're allowing these guys to be in charge, call the shots, over and over. And how much longer, are we going to let this happen? This is the United States of America. If I want to buy a vehicle, I can go to a dozen different car companies. If I want to get a soda, there's like 50 soda companies. If I want to go buy shoes, there's hundreds of shoe companies. But when it comes to political parties, we only get two options, and it's these guys getting rich, the young are dying, and we talk about it online, we talk about it in person, and when they do these big things, I hate to say it, but hopefully because of this, some good. Maybe it's what we needed as in the military side to be like, yo, man, we're fucking done with this bullshit, And I bring up again that officer. I'm not sure if he was a general. I didn't read too much into it, but he voiced his opinion, and they fired him. But what he said is, yes,
I think he was a colonel.
Okay, well, the colonel, he said what a lot of us were saying, and because he said that, he's getting fired. Do I feel betrayed? In a way, yeah. I mean, we gave a lot. We care for this country. We fought. Many of us died. And when you see the government just do bullshit like that, when they're not even near the battlefield, you can't help it, to be like, yo, man, this isn't cool, and something needs to happen, because you're just going to keep doing this, and then my kids are going to face that, because your people are going to keep doing this shit. Because when you dig deeper, a lot of them are related to each other. So it's in a way, it's the same people running this fucking show, and us, the majority, just going out there and dying for them.
Yeah, but it seems like, so like I said, I've been speaking on this for, ever since this has been going on, hardcore pretty much. And it gets hijacked by political parties and our own ideologies, because automatically I start speaking on it. They'll say, oh, Gil, you're turning all Trump tard on us. You're turning all Republican. And I'm like, nah, but this is something that's not a right or a left. It's like I always say, screw both those parties, because it's refreshing for you, a serviceman, to come out here and say that we need to get off this two-party system. And I think we need to get in the center, because that's a lot of times it seems like the right does get hijacked and uses the military for it. But at the end of the day, I don't think either party really cares for you guys. It's just whoever. Go ahead.
I 100% agree with you, and this is why I said I don't speak for everybody, because unfortunately, I know some service members that no matter who it is, just because they are running on the right, they will fucking back them up. And if you say anything, it is like you are attacking them. And it does feel like that to them, because they have made that part of their identity of who they are. And unfortunately, that's a terrible thing, because someone who's in this party is not you. You should go through life and experience it, and based off your experience, make decisions. Like, hey, if this party's saying this, well, I know better. I know, that's not what that is. And just because I claim this side for so long, maybe I should fucking change. Maybe I should open my eyes. Yes. I'm not just in case anybody's wondering, I'm not left or right. I've never voted for I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for Trump. My loyalty is on the men and women that serve and protect this country, and the people who are not in service but work hard to better this country. That's who I'm for.
Now, have you ever dealt with people, and it pisses me off, and I'm not even a service guy, when they sit here and they talk shit about you guys? I mean, some guy called the other day and pretty much said, well, if they die, that's on them. They went over there. And I'm like, dude, these guys are actually fighting for you. Do you ever encounter people like that kind of disrespect you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we've dealt with that, with stuff like that. Right away, I remember when we came back from Iraq, there was people with signs as we're coming home, no blood for oil, or baby killers and stuff like that. And it's like, again, you can't simplify this thing that easy, this is to say that it's just for oil. That's a cop out, because there's also the ideology. We've seen the evil that's out there. We've seen it, and nowadays with the power of social media, you can see it too. when you look up Vice videos on segments in overseas and what's happening and women being slaves and stuff like that, you know, we feel that's evil. We're gonna fight that evil. And if you feel like, hey, you fucking went over there and you died and fucking good, or that's on you, then that's your opinion, and I'm gonna respect that because that's what makes this country so great that you can say and do just about whatever you want, and
Yes,
no
sir.
one's gonna kill you. I've been to countries where if you disrespect the military, they can kill you right then and there,
Yeah.
and there's no repercussion.
Yeah, yeah. I think some of these people have no clue because they live in. A lot of us are lucky enough to live in the bubble of the United States and haven't seen the evils of those worlds. As far as the Afghanistan's coming over here, would you been okay with every single person that you ever worked with over there coming over here, getting a full ride, and pretty much getting taken away from Afghanistan? Because there's some people that feel a certain way about them coming over here.
So I that's already happened for our guys. So for our guys specifically, one of them is named Sergel. That man has been blown up multiple times, shot multiple times for this country, and we got him his, his green card for his family, and they came. I don't want to butcher this, but I believe it was 2017, and it just happened that by the time him and I connected was around July. And for me, the most American thing that I can do on 4th of July is make that 5 hour drive to Sacramento and go see him and
That's
have
right.
dinner with his family, have
That's
dinner with somebody who's fought, for this country, for a place. He this is just an idea, something he sees. He's never even been to it, but he's willing to fight for certain freedoms that we have here. And because of his work, he's got the opportunity to come. Why would you not take it? We're fortunate enough to be from here, and well, I'm here, so whatever. But other people in other countries see this, and they're like, I want to be there. And if some people don't want him here, that's very unfortunate. These people fought for us.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that everyone who comes over. I'm not talking about Afghan people who fought with us, but just in general, I'm not going to say that everybody who comes over here is looking for the best interest of this country, because that's not true. But at the same time, not everybody that comes is bad. So, and again, that's a very complex situation, and I don't think there's one simple like, hey, let everybody in or don't let anybody out or whatever.
Now, I know you work with a lot of vets. You work with guys who go to PTSD, they got depression. I'm sure you've had your own battles with stuff like that. Now, do you think what's going on right now is affecting them in a negative way?
Oh, it is. I mean, right from the get go, as we were seeing all this stuff unfold in the group chat, everyone's like, "Hey, man, are you okay? Hey, is everybody okay?" Because this means a lot to us. Um, and it I didn't feel that way, because I understand it's the government who's making these calls. It's the government who betrayed the Afghan people, is betraying us in a way, the service members and the American people. But I didn't feel betrayed. But I know some veterans who feel very, very, very bad about what's happening. They feel like they themselves were the ones who said, "I'm leaving you behind," or "Screw you and your family," and it's some guys, yeah, some guys are going through the bottle. Some guys are very angry. But I tell my guys and try to set the example, like, hey man, we need to take action. Killing ourselves, or maybe not even just killing ourselves, but hurting ourselves, but with the pills and the drinking and the bar fights or whatever and the anger, is it going to help or change the situation? We need to take action. And I try to go overseas. I try to hit up my friends who are still in special operations, still active duty, like, hey man, can I help? How can I go? And actually, there were some special operations veterans who went and they did this whole thing called Operation Pineapple Express, and people like that. I don't know any of them personally, but people like that, it's what makes me proud to be an American.
Nice, nice. Now, somebody brought something up real here, and I want to say it real quick. What's your take? And I've seen this as well, but I want to know your take. on there's many Mexicanos and other Latinos from other countries who served in Iraq, served in Afghanistan, came over and broke the law. I mean, some selling marijuana, some maybe selling cocaine, and these guys had green cards, but they served for the country and are veterans, and they got deported. Are you okay with that?
No, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, so in basic training, it's really when you meet everybody from the country, right? And like for example, I had some guys who were like, "Hey, man, this is my first time meeting a Mexican in person. You know, I'm from so and so town. You know, it's mostly white. Yeah, we might have some blacks here and there, but we have no Mexicans. Um, and you really get to see why people joined. It's because their dad was in, or it's because of 9/11. And I remember this one guy was like, "Hey, man, he's like, I'm joining because I grew up in the United States. I love this country. But when I was in high school, my mom told me, hey, you're not born here." And she explained what that means to me. And I wanted to join anyways. So when the recruiter told me like, "Hey, we can help you get your citizenship," he was like, that was even more of a reason to do it. So when these men go and their birth certificate says Mexico or El Salvador or whatever, and they go and they die in Iraq and Afghanistan, I wish more Americans saw that and realize how many people from that, outside this country love this country. And it hurts when I hear like, "Hey, man, so and so came back from deployment. He got in trouble, like, DUI, maybe he was carrying a pistol or whatever, and they deported him."
Yeah,
And it's a fucking shame.
it is.
It's a shame. I did see a Vice video segment on that, and unless I'm mistaken, there is an organization that's trying to help these guys out. It is a battle because you're fighting the legal system, and it's a fucking shame. I feel like they should be treated, just like regular people, man. Fucking make them do their time. If they did the crime, all right, do your time,
Yes.
but not like, "Hey, man, you're fucking out, dude." That fucking bums me out, man.
That's chicken shit. I mean, if they went to, let's say, to service, to actual war, especially if they went to Iraq or Afghanistan, even if they saw combat or not, if they did their full duty, came back over here, and then got arrested, yeah, they shouldn't be deported. They should be treated like any other serviceman. They should actually, as soon as they come back, you're qualified to be a U.S. citizen. That should be off the back. Deporting them should not even be on the table. But that goes back to what you were saying. It's the politicians, because the politicians say they love the veterans, but as soon as they don't need the veterans anymore, it's kind of like, it's unfortunate. It's kind of like even America sometimes. Angel, they kind of just toss you guys away, and we'll call you when we need you.
100%. I feel that way. A lot of us feel that way, and I'm a man of action. So as soon as I got out and I started seeing that and feeling it, that's why I do what I do through my company, OG Pumpkin. Hosting events and getting us together and creating the community. And I feel, I mean, it took now actually we're at 5 years of solid work, starting from 4 people in my house to 400 people at a warehouse. We got a band, we got skate ramps, we have vendors, law enforcement and veterans, and I work real hard, not just myself but a team, because this isn't just a me thing. I'm working with a team to create something that I feel the government should have had for us.
Yeah.
They yes, we did our time and stuff like that, but it's a damn shame that you get out and there's no, well, there is help that they offer, which it's pills and stuff like that to treat symptoms of war.
Now, I don't know if you've gone. Well, I'm not sure where you're at, but what do you feel about so many vets being homeless? Over at the vet in the VA in Sepulveda and Wilshire, that place is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger with tents. I mean, you've got to have at least over maybe 200 tents over there. What do you feel?
Yeah,
What's going on with that?
Well, that right there is like the $1 trillion question: is why or how is it that so many individuals can go into the military, be successful in there, get higher in the ranks, but when they get out, they can't continue that success, and it's not just one reason, it's multiple reasons. For sure, it's the lack of support.
Yeah.
Trying to feed us pills, to get these issues taken care of. Lack of support, because people need to understand. I mean, I got out and I had a support system. My wife and I, we're from Southern California. Her family's here, my family's here. But I know guys that when I would tell them like, hey man, Christmas leave is coming up or whatever, I noticed you're not going to go anywhere. And he's like, yeah, I have no one to go to. Or maybe they're like, I got my mom and that's it, or my brother, or like, it's a support system issue. It is, it's multiple things, and it bums me the fuck out, which is again a reason why I do what I do, because I take it personal. It's a personal thing when I hear that, this veteran killed themselves, or this happened or that happened, because that's my people. When I say my people, and I can mean, depending on what I'm talking about, that could be low income people because I'm from a low income community, or it can be my Hispanic people. But I'm talking about like, these are my people, like people who serve and in one way or another aren't really getting the help that they need from the government after.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with. I think the respect issue, just on American. Like, listen, to me, anybody who's listening, on a political level, I don't give a shit. These guys are heroes. You guys go out there and you put your life on the line, and they could sit there and make excuses. Oh, you guys doing it for this. You guys doing it for that. At the end of the day, you guys are doing what a lot of people that will talk shit about you guys just won't do, Angel. It's a sad thing that it's still in America. They still want to. Some of these guys want to disrespect you guys, man. It pisses me off.
And you know what? I know it pisses off some of my friends, but well, what's happening right there, is that you have to see I see past the hate. I see past the 1-2 liners of census, and what it is that it starts with that individual, because I don't know anybody who's successful, fulfilled, and not successful, fulfilled as in you have money, but as in you have a loving relationship with somebody, or a support system with loving family members, a career that you like, and you care about yourself. I don't know anybody who has all that and is writing negative things online. It's something within that individual
Yeah, right.
that makes them say something like that. Because if they knew better, if they really understood the situation, maybe if they were a little bit more educated, not just in by books, but in life, they wouldn't be saying stuff like that.
Yes, sir. So, I want to let people know. I know you got a podcast going now, right? So I want to kind of let people know where you're at nowadays with that podcast.
So we're on episode 5, and it's called the OG Pumpkin Podcast. And the reason why I started a podcast was, I would go to all these podcasts, and afterwards, because the people knew I was going to school to become a registered dietitian, or because I was in special operations, or because I trained and competed in martial arts, they would ask me these questions, and I would try to write them a good enough answer online. But the thing is, I didn't want to be on my phone all day, every day. And I'm like, you know what? I'll start making these videos. And then I did that. But then I didn't want to make videos talking to a camera. Like, you can even see my first videos where I'm talking to the camera with like my shades on, because I didn't want to look at the camera. It just felt weird talking to myself. So I'm like, you know what? I've been doing the podcast thing. Some of them are like, yo, man, you should write a book. You should do a podcast. And I'm like, you know what? All right, I think I should do the book. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the podcast. So I've been doing it. It's got a bunch of great feedback. And we talk about subjects that now, if people ask me questions, instead of going back and forth all day with them, give them advice on this subject or that subject, I can easily just say, hey, man, how about you listen to episode so-and-so, and if you have any more specific questions, hit me back up again.
Right on. And what's the name of the podcast? We got people asking.
Yeah, the OG Pumpkin Podcast.
The OG Pumpkin Podcast. And where can you find that OG Pumpkin Podcast at?
You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, and in YouTube. under the YouTube channel Ranger Cortez.
Ranger Cortez. Well, after this, why don't you shoot me a link to it on IG, and then I'll post it on the comment section to this video.
Oh.
I know you're strapped for time a little bit, so I have one more question I want to kind of ask you, and
Okay.
you can say, do you have any advice for military members going through depression, going through through the trials and tribulations of war, or just just in general, brother? And what's your message to them?
Yes, and it's when I got out, I didn't know it right away. But we're trying to spread the message so people can see this coming and they're well prepared. And it's two things. You're losing your brotherhood, right? So call it your community or support system. You're losing that when you get out the military because you've had that for however many years you were in. And you're losing your purpose. We all believe this is, we're doing this for a much greater purpose, something bigger than us. So when you get out, you don't have either. And then you start feeling sad, and then maybe a little depression kicks in, and then maybe some anger. And then what I recommend is that you try to find those two things. It may not come to you right away. You may not find your next community or support system. I advise some people to always go to a jiu-jitsu gym because, in my opinion, the martial arts community, based on my experience, is the closest thing to the military and law enforcement community because you're physically and mentally growing. You're pushing each other, and it's a real group of solid guys, and you always see a bunch of veterans in there. And now, then your purpose, that might be going to school, using your education benefits in something that you're very passionate about that you can then work. Go to the gym. There's enough scientific evidence that shows that physical fitness helps not just your body but mentally, emotionally. So it helps you start doing some physical fitness. I'm not saying, hey, go do some crazy CrossFit workout.
Right.
Start whatever your level is. Nutrition. That's a whole nother thing. Proper sleep. So you start doing all these things. You start getting out there. You start making friends. And then now you don't have to battle this stuff by yourself. And now then you're finding your purpose. And it's not going to be an easy, straight shot up to the top. Everything's fine. There's going to be some bad days again. But just keep going. Don't give up. And sooner or later, you're going to look back and you're like, man, I remember those dark times. That's because right. Me specifically, I can remember those dark times. I had those times where I'm just in a hole. I used to be a sergeant in the 75th Ranger Regiment. Now I'm going to school, but in between semesters, I got to do a part-time job where these fucking kids are yelling at me and screaming at me about their fucking order, and I'm on the verge of getting divorced. And I feel bad. But I remember asking myself, like, what are you going to do about it though? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to fucking let it defeat me. That's for sure. I got to do something. So then I started being proactive, and it didn't take one day. It didn't take 1 week. It didn't take 1 month, but it took a while. And then I look back and I'm like, man, those were some dark times, but I'm glad I kept pushing.
Right, man. Yeah, for sure, Angel. So I just want to thank you, Angel, for coming on here. Anybody want to go check out Angel's podcast, go to Angel Cortez on YouTube. And I'll put the link up. And Angel, I want to thank you on behalf of the channel, everybody here. God bless you, brother. God bless all your brothers in arms, all the ones that have fallen before, all the ones that will fall before, the service members that are in there and out there, brother. I just want to thank you so much, man.
Well, thank you for having me on. This is the second time. I remember the first time was in person. I had a good time there. I got a good feedback from that episode, and I tried to explain myself the best that I could in this short time. So hopefully I did it justice.
You did a great job.
This whole situation. But again, thank you for having me on.
All right, brother. Thank you, Angel. Appreciate you, my man. Bye-bye. Okay. All right, guys. So that was my boy Angel Cortez. You could check him out on YouTube at Angel Cortez, or I think it's I'll put it on the link. This was just a great episode to hear from somebody who's actually been in combat, who's been there, he's in that community, So God bless him. And you guys have a great night, man.